Or
There was a meeting with On Track the same day that we had our last meeting. What was the conversation at that meeting?
We talked to Zach on the phone. We had a conference call with him that evening. He definitely is wanting to redevelop the lot. He's just concerned about how much funding he's going to have to redevelop it. I do believe is Christy here? Christy's here? Yes. Yeah. Christy's open to suggestions on what she wants to do with the lot. We all are concerned about what Hudson wants to do with his lot. I'm sure you guys found out from last time. Do we know what Mike wants to do with his? No. We still don't know.
Eric. I happened to run into Mike Saturday.
Okay.
And he is waiting right now for prices from building records doing the building and two others. And his basic thought at this point is tear it down and sell it.
Okay. So we've got a pretty good idea what we're going to do with what they want to do with their lot.
Yes, that's what he was looking at on Saturday morning when I talked to him.
I'm sorry, we were playing around with this.
Well, I see, the reason why I asked that is I see that on this funding list that On Track's a possible funding source. I was just curious how that plays into this at this point. If at all, we may not even know yet. But
I got you now.
Okay.
We were in the process of trying to develop an 8-block area of Marlington before we had the fire, and we were concentrating on an 8-block area of the town. We weren't trying to step on anybody's toes. We were trying to do everything. We were just trying to work on getting some potential funding to help develop the community. I'm not real sure how this is going to affect everything. Definitely we can work with everybody to try to help draw in more funds any way we can. I'm not sure how On Track is going to be able to help with this. I'm sure we can find some ways to work with them. Dennis may have some more insight there. We have a meeting coming up soon, a training meeting coming up soon for anybody who would like to be involved with that. Any help that we can get. When is our?
I don't know if I've got that date with us.
July 10th, maybe. That sounds.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, July.
Yeah.
January 10th.
I haven't got the exact date, but it should be.
I think it's January.
It should be posted on our website by this time.
For some reason,
I'll check on
January
that.
10th, January 17th comes up. Seems like the date, but we could definitely work on some things there and help with getting some funding in with this also. They seem to be very in tune with trying to help us get this working also.
I actually had a chance to talk to Nikki Williams with On Track. She said that they didn't readily have funds available for infrastructure and things like that.
Right.
But she seemed like she would be a really good contact as far as planning. That they could
Exactly. They come up with some people that we could try to work with.
Yeah. She actually mentioned this gentleman, Mike, and I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Okay, but he's the consultant, and she mentioned that he might be someone to look to maybe for historic preservation.
Exactly. Yeah, he was on the West Virginia Historic Preservation Committee, I believe. Yeah, right. There's a lot of sources we can work with here.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think you're going to,
There's a lot of resources we need to pull in to get
yeah,
this.
you're going to identify some of resources and all the work that's being done with Arlington and, you know, on track, we're doing Arlington on track. All these things are going to, I think, have to be combined.
Well, we've also got Main Street USA working on this, on a project too, before this all happened, from what I understand.
The Main
correct?
Street program?
No, it wasn't Main Street.
That wasn't, okay.
It was,
Oh, blueprint.
Blueprint, okay.
Yeah,
Blueprint.
that's, you know, we kind of moved away from
Okay,
downtown development, but we do have some technical funds available
okay,
to help support a match
okay.
if required.
See, one of the, I mean, we've got a number of, and this is, I think, important for us to resolve. We've got a number of organizations already involved and
Exactly.
moving forward. And obviously, we don't, that has to be a part of what we do, okay? And we have to work with everybody that's already moving forward. We've got people that are already planning and have worked on this and gathered information and pulled in resources, and it would be crazy for us to not take advantage of that already, you know, that's already there. Denise? Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Steve Weir. I'm sorry we had trouble before. Can you hear the conversation in general?
It's sort of breaking in and out, but I'm sort of getting the gist of it.
Okay. We'll try to speak as loud. I normally don't speak very loud. I'll try to boost the volume here a little bit.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And I think then that's probably going to fall on me in this committee to make sure that all of that happens.
And Steve, I also met with some folks, Christmas Eve, some young folks from outside of the community that used to live here that are interested in coming back and helping out too. Jim Smith's, his younger son, who's an architect in New York,
I have his contact.
he is interested in helping out. Jonathan Smith would love to help out with the project.
That list that I sent out to everybody, that contact list that is being developed, he's on that. A number of
Okay.
people, and I've got a revised one I have just got the other day. I have to send that out again. I don't think I have. But those names are coming to us, of people. I think the question is, how do we engage them? And at what point do we engage them? I don't want to say, we want you to help, and then we can't tell them how.
Right.
You know,
I think Jonathan would be a great resource. He's got a lot of great ideas. I've seen some of his drawings, some of the things that he's come
he's
up
already worked up a few little
Exactly.
small drawings.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, you know, I don't want to waste people's time.
with. Right.
You know, I think we have to try to have something concrete to ask them to be involved in.
Well, Christy was there and she had some great ideas on some things too, so.
When we get to this, let's get through, then we'll get everybody involved in the discussion. Because again, you know, we're just starting to get through this and wade through it, and it's not, with the demolition and the holidays, I'm not trying to make excuses, but it's just, we've got to get a little more into it, which we will. And so let's get down to that. We're at the next steps part of this, and let's ask everybody to get involved. Christy, you're sitting back here, you've got to have something to say. So.
Not at this time.
For anybody that don't know Christie, she's one of the property owners that own Duck Bean. And,
You know, one of the things that we were kind of exchanging a couple emails and is that the people that want to get back in business, we have to pull our resources together to get them those resources to help them if they want to get back into business and how that can work for them.
I do have a question actually regarding that, because basically everyone has been, all the businesses that were affected have found other homes,
Okay.
except myself.
Okay.
Our biggest problem in town is affordable, acceptable retail merchant space, whether it be for me, for business in general. And until those concerns are addressed, I have nowhere to go. I've looked at the prospect of reopening in other places, and really, as far as a business standpoint goes, there's nowhere for me to go without incurring a lot of expense in remodeling or building, or which I spent the last 9-10 years doing in the building that I was in. So from a business standpoint, and not only did I lose my business, but I lost my home. So until people, not only people who want to open businesses and make a modest living doing what they do, but until there are other I just think those concerns need to be addressed. There really was nowhere for me to go, even to reopen temporarily without a lot of work. Plus, I lost my home, so I had to find a place to live. So, and I'm still not in a permanent dwelling. I'm in a temporary situation. So until I figure out if I can reopen. So having somewhere for small businesses to go and us to operate should be, in my mind, as a business owner, a primary concern. And the infrastructure to support them. Infrastructure and retail spaces.
Are there any buildings in town, vacant buildings not for sale?
But Christian makes a good point. The buildings that is available are not necessarily buildings that suit their needs without major work being done to them.
The problem with relocation, what happens when people, is when they're forced to relocate, they find a spot, they open up, and if it works for them, they then aren't all that normally interested in moving back to the other space once it's put back in place in some manner. I've seen that happen as any time in different communities. Back when urban renewal was a big thing, in the 70s and 80s, I've seen entire business districts relocated while they were renovated and then refused to move back because they found new homes and were successful where they were.
I don't think we're going to have that problem in Marlington.
Probably not.
Sorry to say, but we don't have enough property. I mean, we don't have enough retail spaces or nice places or even places for small businesses to go. So let's say hypothetically I relocate. I find a place to relocate. I really want to be on Main Street because that's where my business needs to be, or close to the rail trail. There's nowhere for me to go. Let's say hypothetically there is somewhere for me to go. I relocate. I have to do that for my business. Now, because of what I do, and my busy season is from April through October. So I have to reopen. If I'm going to reopen, I have to reopen by April.
Have you drafted any kind of a description could you draft a description for us that we could look at for the kind of space you would need temporarily?
I'm not interested in a temporary location. That's the thing. If you want to look at what I need to run my business, then perhaps having come in my business would have been a good place to start. That's what I need to run my business. And that was done fairly, I could improve upon that in a new location. But that's essentially what I need to run my business. So if I find a place to relocate and open, I don't want to put in cooking equipment, put in a bicycle repair shop, put in all those things that I had done over the last 9 years in that building that I was in. And then 2 years down the road, when something may be able to be accomplished on the lot due to flood issues and everything else, relocate. If I'm still involved in that lot, then I would be interested in helping find another business that may be of value to town like myself, or something along that lines, that I may be able to help be involved in drawing something like that in. But for me then, 2 years down the road, after I've been displaced once and then have to reestablish in another location that is hopefully good for my business, then to have to relocate back into another space. Relocation, a lot of times, and a lot of the reason why those people may not have gone back to the revitalized urban, say town sort of thing, because relocation, a lot of times you risk, I don't think it's as huge of a factor in Marlinton because it's such a small town, people are going to find you, but in other areas, they move, they get relocated, they get their businesses rolling again, they may have lost some of their clientele because of the move, that happens quite frequently. They have to reestablish that clientele or get new people, then you're asking them to relocate again back to their old space. For business, that's not, you risk losing a lot of your customer base when you're doing that. People know where you are, people want to come find, and a lot of people will move with you when you move. And here in Marlinton, I don't think you're going to run into that quite as much because, like I said, it is such a small town. If I move over a block, people will find me because they're riding their bikes through and they know I'm here and I'm back open and whatever. And tourism is great for directing people towards me. So they'll find me if I'm a block over, but ideally, no, it's hard enough for me to get people to stop on Main Street, especially in the wintertime when they're blowing through to snowshoe. That's why I wanted to be on Main Street, is visibility. So to ask a merchant to relocate and then ask them to move back is, I think, a little beyond what most would want to do or should be asked to do. The costs incurred alone in doing that for a small